Yo, yo, yo! Welcome to the first episode of Pastors in Slippers. Why slippers, you say? Because we're stuck at home. And so today is the first episode. And let me explain what Pastors in Slippers is all about. It is, first of all, we're going to have a little bit of fun. But it is me connecting with another church leader for the purpose to inspire, encourage, and unify the local church, the Big C church. And now, more than ever, it's time for churches to believe and to act like they are on the same team, that they're in it together, and that the church is unified. The church should be more unified now, more than ever. And so today we're going to be connecting with Waymaker.Church with One Community Church, and I think let's see here.
What's
What's
up?
up?
How you been?
Good, good, bro. I haven't seen you in a while. That hair is looking fresh.
Hey, you know what I'm saying? You know I gotta look good a little bit. Hope they don't sound too confident, but you know I gotta
Now,
look good.
listen,
You know me. You know me.
I drew attention to it. Do you have does your wife do your hair? Do you have your barber come to the house in, in this season?
Actually, my uncle, he's my barber, so I'm allowed to go visit family. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So based on the order, I'm allowed to visit family, so I can get my hair clipped. And my wife been talking about me getting my hair cut for a while, so
I like
you
it.
know.
Well, there's a reason I have a hat on because, yeah.
Hey, I see your beard though, man. You got a little, you know what I'm saying, Ross there a little bit.
A little bit. Yeah, it's been a rough couple days. But hey, listen, for those of you who don't know, this is Destin, and man, Destin and I, we've been meeting off and on for the past year, year and a half. He's one of the pastors at One Community Church here in Lynchburg, and so man, thank you first of all for being the first guest on Pastors and Slippers.
Hey, first time's the charm. First one's the best. Everyone got to live up to this standard.
That's right. All right, so let's start off with the most important thing, okay? What is your footwear of choice while at home?
I always like Jordans. I wear Jordans outside, inside. I know this, I know this Pastors and Slippers, but I was like, man, I'm a J's guy. He should have said Pastors and Sneakers.
Well, we were, but we just assumed people. Okay, so you're a Jays. What's your favorite? What's your favorite Jordan?
13s. I got 12s on now. Matter of fact.
You got 12s on right now.
Yeah.
Dang, man. I'm not gonna tell you what I have on right now. I got some slippers.
Hey, look! I told my wife the other day. I said I gotta buy some slippers. And she was like, "That ain't you. Like,
Yeah.
stick to you."
Be you. I like it. Hey, Pastor John, our lead pastor, is on. He had we were talking about Pastors and Slippers, and he had Air Force Ones on during the meeting. So he's also wearing his sneakers at home while working at home. So
John Dupin. I'm trying to be like you. You know what I'm saying? When I grow up, John Dupin.
Air Jordan 1s, classic. He's the Air Jordan 1s. For me, specifically, if I would buy one pair, it would be Jordan 3s, and it would be specifically the ones that Justin Timberlake wore at the halftime show. I think it was like two Super Bowls ago. Man, they were so nice. But
They were legit.
it's not in the budget. It's not in the budget right now.
Not yet, anyway.
Yeah. So, all right. Pastor John says, I need that hair, bro. He's jealous of your hair.
Hey, we can trade some. Give me your car or something. We can trade for my hair.
He actually he drives a Prius. You don't want that.
I can't fit. I can't. Never mind. I can't.
Oh, that's good. All right. Okay. Let's jump into this.
Okay.
So, I was right before you came on. I was just explaining that really the heart of this is, yes, to have some fun, to laugh a little bit, but I really want to see the local church be more unified and connected now more than ever, right? Like now is the time for us to realize that we're on the same team, that we're not competing with each other, that we have the same mission. And I was just like, man, hey, this would be a cool idea to inspire, to encourage, and to unify church bodies, like different church congregations. And so, right now, we are doing that between one community and Waymaker.Church. And so I'm really excited for our churches to get to know each other a little bit. So let me start off with the first question. Okay. Obviously, a couple weeks ago, I guess like 3-4 weeks ago, this COVID-19 pandemic hit this area. And in the past like 3-4 weeks, how has this pandemic, this virus, really affected the people of one community? What are some ways that your people are being affected in the season?
Well, I think, the first thing is really change. You know what I'm saying? We are changing how we do life. Like, people are at home more. People are getting laid off from their jobs. So it's very different than what we're used to. And anytime we have a season of change, it's always scary. So I know many members, as we've been reaching out to them and trying to connect with them. Many of them are just afraid of the unknown. Like, they don't know what's going to happen next. They don't know what's going to happen with, their job situation. They don't know if, Lynchburg is going to become a place where there's a lot of cases of the COVID-19 virus. So it's really the unknown that's really, unfortunately, we haven't had anyone that has caught the COVID-19 virus at our church. We had one person who thought that they had the symptoms, but it turned out to be just the normal flu. Yeah. So we were very grateful, for that. So it's really been a whole lot of change.
Yeah, good. Yeah, so right now it's just the idea that everything that was normal has got disrupted, and then also just with jobs and either the potential of losing a job or losing income. How are you guys like caring for the people in your church? Like, what are some really practical ways that you are being like the hands and feet to people, whether in your church or just in your community in general?
Well, I think two things. One, I think right now, and I think we all as churches are trying to wrestle through two different things. And that's like, how do we keep our church connected? And then how do we care for our people in our church, right? And so we've been having conversations about how we can maximize this social media era, right? Because, my wife was, she said this other day. She said, wasn't it, the perfect time for the virus to come? Not saying, I'm not, just, it was the perfect time for it to come. Why? Because we have the social media. We have everything we need to be a church that's virtual. So if it would have came 20 years ago, we would have been in more of a chaos, because we're like, how are we going to reach out to our church? Right. So, right now we've established a needs page where myself and the 4 elders of the church, each one of those are responsible for a particular area. And that's prayer, that's counseling, that's financial needs, and that's food. And so we have asked our team leaders to reach out, whether it's a group team leader or a host team leader, to stay in constant contact with the people at the church to see if there are any needs, to see if there are any ways that we can reach out to them and fill their needs. Because one thing that we want to do, although we do want to reach out to our community, we want to make sure that those in our church are taken care of and make sure that they're good. And so that's one way. And then the second way is we're really trying to stay connected. And so right now we have 4 major ways that we're staying connected. One of those is Sunday Zoom. So we call it Sunday Zoom. So after church on Sunday, we we come together as a church and we answer any questions as pastors about the message, any prayer requests, anything that they may have. Obviously, that may be difficult, for you guys, because you guys are a 1,600 member church, I think, give or take. But for us, we're a smaller church. So it's really built, that relationship. Yeah. And then on Mondays, we have Monday Inspiration, where we know, people are know what I'm saying, they're on social media and they're seeing all this chaos, and you know what I'm saying, people are dying, people are getting sick,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, the government's shutting down, etc. And we want to just give some you know, so some ways that they can be encouraged and, you know what I'm saying, inspired. And then on Wednesdays, we actually have our Wednesday conversation on life, love, and leadership, where, you know what I'm saying, the church can come together and they can ask me and Paul, who's my lead pastor, you know what I'm saying, any questions they might have, again, any prayer requests. And then on Saturdays, we have something we call Zoom, you know what I'm saying, development.
Yep.
And that's where we bring all our leaders together. And you know what I'm saying, we train them, you know what I'm saying, we coach them on ways that they can reach out to the church and make sure any needs are met. So
It's good. That's good. I want to highlight something you said. You mentioned when you talked about care, how you are first, specifically as a staff member, focusing on the people within your church and caring for them. And at first you're like, well, wait, what about the rest of the world, right? That's like that, like, pastoral thing in us, like, what about the rest of the world? Well, but the reality is we have to care for the people that God's entrusted us, like, most personally, so that then they can be the hands and feet to the rest of the people, right? Like, I mean,
absolutely.
if you have people in your church that are drowning in financial need or emotional, like, need, they're not going to be able to be the hands and feet to their neighbors and to the people at work and to the people that they have online, maybe they're friends with online. But I love that you mentioned, man, we're making sure that our body, our church is healthy and cared for, and then that happens and they can take that out to the rest of the world.
Because, you know what I'm saying, because how can we preach, you know what I'm saying, go out and, you know what I'm saying, change the world, go touch the world, go feed the poor, and then, you know what I'm saying, when they're struggling, we're like, well, you just figure it out. Like, no, you know what I'm saying, scripture says that as pastors, we're called to shepherd, you know what I'm saying, the flock. Those are, you know what I'm saying, in the church. It's our responsibility first to shepherd the flock first. And then, you know what I'm saying, once we care for our people, they'll be, you know what I'm saying, more than happy, you know what I'm saying, to go out and, you know what I'm saying, care for someone else. But we can't expect them to go care for other people if they're not getting cared for, you know what I'm saying, by us.
That's good. That's really good. Okay, so every local church is really uniquely wired. I really believe that, right? Like, we all have the same mission.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus made it clear. He didn't give us any option. He just said, hey, listen, like, you need to take this gospel message, the things that I've taught, you need to take that to the world, right?
Yeah.
But every local church has just a unique, like, way that they kind of express that and live that out. So in this current season, what is one community really winning at? Like, what do you think their unique, like, voices in this time? What makes you guys you in the season?
I think it's authenticity, man. I think, I think that people just realizing that, although we're Christians, you know what I'm saying, we go through the same emotions, you know what I'm saying, we go through the same things that they go through. Some of us are just as afraid as the world is. Some of us are just as bothered. Like, we're still, although we're, you know what I'm saying, we're children of God, and you know what I'm saying, God loves us. We're going through this thing just as much as, you know what I'm saying, you are. And you know what I'm saying, one thing I've admired from, you know what I'm saying, my lead pastor, who was Paul Dudley, he's been real authentic about how this virus has made him feel. And we've had, you know what I'm saying, several people who go to the church and people who don't go to the church who are like, man, I just really appreciate, you know what I'm saying, y'all being real and, you know what I'm saying, being, you know what I'm saying, real authentic. Because I think sometimes at churches we can get too spiritual, right? We can get too deep in it.
Too spiritual?
That's like no, it's like, well, you know what I'm saying, we forget that we do live in a real world. I'm not saying we shouldn't be spiritual. That's not what I'm saying.
I'm with you.
But I'm saying, you know how some people, they get real spiritual and then, like, they forget that people are going through things. And I think anytime you tune into our sermons, our conversations, anytime you meet, you know what I'm saying, one of us on the street, like, you know what I'm saying, like, you're going to get someone that's going to be real and authentic with you.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that we actually, you know what I'm saying, that's one of our values.
Yeah.
And that's something that we really value as a church, is just, you know what I'm saying, be real with people. Like, people don't need, you know what I'm saying, fronts and facades right now. They need, you know what I'm saying, people to be real, especially those in the church.
I like that. I like that. And honestly, the time I've got to know you, that's who you are. like when I meet with you, when we have lunch, you know, it's
gonna
like
get real.
this is Destin, right? This is him.
Yeah.
The way I see this sometimes is churches and specifically pastors have almost built this chasm or this gap. See this gap between the pulpit and the congregation,
Yeah.
right? Like in the way that they talk or the way they present themselves, it's almost
Absolutely.
like they're speaking to this group and saying, I have obtained this level of spiritual like hierarchy that you can obtain.
Yeah, elitism.
That's right.
And matter of fact, if I could take this story real quick, you know what I'm saying? When God was calling me to be a pastor, one thing that kept me from not wanting to be a pastor for so long is because I was like, I did not want to be like what I saw. Like I did not want to have that aura of that elitism, that I'm above the people. Like, no, I struggle just like you do. I go through different seasons just like you do. And I was like, God, if you want me to be a pastor, you got to, you know what I'm saying, work something out in me, you know what I'm saying? Because I want to be me. I want to be me, you know what I'm saying?
That's good.
So
yeah, and the way what vulnerability does and authenticity is what you're talking about. What it does is it takes away that gap, and it says, because how powerful is it when you have a church leader that says, I struggle with fear. I am fearful that my kids are going to get sick. I'm fearful that income is going to slow down. I'm fearful that I won't have what it takes to lead this church in this time of uncertainty. But here's what I know is truth. Like, that's what people need. They need to be like, hey, I'm fearful, but man, I know that like this is true. I know that my faith in Jesus, my hope in Jesus, that there is something on the other side of this. And that's what people connect with. That takes that chasm or that gap between the church leaders and the people, and it shrinks it, and hopefully gets away with that and says, no, like, man, I'm a real person, and I have real struggles. So I love that you guys are getting away with that.
And you know, saying Paul even said, look, I boast in my weaknesses. I don't hide them. I don't try to put, you know what I'm saying, facade in front of him. He said, look, I'm weak, but you know what I'm saying, God uses it. And once we get to a place as leaders, and I'm not saying that we aren't there, but like when we get to a place where you just look, I'm weak, but like that's the beauty of it. Like, I'm weak, but you know what I'm saying, he's strong. That's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of the gospel, is that he takes weak people like us and says, go preach this gospel. Go, you know what I'm saying, go lead this church. And we're like, you sure you want me? Like, yeah. Oh, no. God was like, no, I want you. And then you're like, okay, let's go. And then when we start to preach, then, you know what I'm saying, then he always gets the glory, because, you know what I'm saying, we can't take the credit because we're weak anyway, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So that's the exciting part.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna throw a curveball at you. All right. So you said, hey, authenticity, vulnerability, and because I know you, how does that translate for you specifically, where you feel like you're not qualified, or you don't have the competencies or the expertise to be a pastor? What does that look like specifically for you?
How much time you got? No, but man, the first thing is, man, I have a crazy past. I've done some things in life where I'll be like, man, like, whoo, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, I always was afraid to be a pastor, because I was just like, man, I got too many flaws. Like, I understand God used flawed people, but I don't know if he used this amount of flawed person, right?
Yeah.
And then the second thing is, I stutter. If you haven't noticed that by now, if you're watching, I stutter. So I was always, you know, I grew up very afraid to speak in front of people. I grew up, you know what I'm saying, very timid in my speech, never wanted to answer questions in front of people, never wanted to stand up in front of a class, never wanted to do any of that. And then when God called me to be a pastor, I was like, yo, like, I stutter. And then people always tell me, well, Moses stuttered. Well, listen, Moses had Aaron. Like, you know, Aaron spoke for Moses. Who's speaking for me? Like, you gonna send somebody else and let them hold the microphone?
Yeah.
And so, man, I stutter, man. And I tell anybody, man, if God can use me to preach, he can use you. He can use anybody, you know what I'm saying, to do anything. You know what I'm saying? That's real.
Yeah. and that's your testimony, man.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
like in that struggle, in that pain, in that difficulty, like that's where God's power really does shine
Hmm.
through, and his strength. And I love that. I've loved hearing your story, and then watching you courageously step into obedience, what God has called you to, when it comes to being a pastor and leading one community church.
And
So
then, no, and then I'm saying, like, let me say this too, you know what I'm saying, to be transparent. Every time I get on stage, fear comes. Like every single time. Every time when, you know what I'm saying, I'm getting ready to step on that stage to, you know what I'm saying, to preach Jesus, fear comes. But you know what I'm saying, one thing like God told me, you know what I'm saying, one time in prayer was faith is not the absence of fear. Faith is believing in spite of the fear.
hmm,
So it's not that, you know what I'm saying, we don't have faith. It's just, I mean, that we don't have fear. It's just that we choose to believe in spite of the fear.
that's
And
right.
so that's what helps me to keep getting on stage every single Sunday, man.
I like that. I like that. All right. Hey, let's talk about this. So obviously, God is teaching you
Mm.
something. He's growing you in the season. Anytime when our normal gets disrupted, when we start to feel the pressure, and the pain and the
Yeah.
difficulty, God's working on something. He's molding something. He's changing something. What is he teaching you specifically? As a man, as a leader, maybe a father, a husband, what is he teaching you?
As a leader, man, and I'm so glad that you asked me this because I've been in this season for like the past 2 weeks. The importance of vision,
Okay.
right? The importance of maintaining your vision. Because I think these are the seasons where vision can get destroyed. Like this is a season where we can start to doubt, we can start to believe like what is going on. You know what I'm saying? This is like Joseph's prison or David's cave, or you know what I'm saying, where we're just like, I gotta keep believing in what you've told me, because what I see
Mm,
in my real life
mm,
is not what it's supposed to be.
yeah.
But that's why we walk by faith and not by sight. So
Come
God
on.
is like, you know what I'm saying, keep that vision in front of you, because like right now, that's what keeps me going is the vision that God has placed in front of me, and you know what I'm saying, this church as well. And then the second thing, man, is really having some compassion as a leader, because my natural tendency as a person is to not have any empathy,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that's something that I'm really growing in, because right now, and I don't say this in a you know what I'm saying, pompous way at all, but I'm not as bothered by what's going on as some other people.
Yeah.
And I felt really bad about it because I was like, God, why am I not as fearful or as afraid as, you know what I'm saying, some of those people, some of the people are. And I lack empathy. I was like, man, just look, man, just trust God. But then it's like, no, man, it's like people are really going through a lot right now. And as a leader, you have to, you know what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying, meet them where they are, and you know what I'm saying, show compassion and show that you care about them. And so that's what he's really teaching me now, man.
Wow. That is powerful. And I literally, as you're talking about empathy, I thought about like being married, right? Like when Casey, my wife, when she's going through something, or has a struggle or a problem, like my initial reaction is like, well, let me fix it. Right? Let me give you some truth right now, right?
Exactly.
And it's like, and I am disappointed when she doesn't sing my praises that I fixed her problem,
Yeah.
that I gave her the truth that she needed, right?
Yeah.
And really what she not just wanted, but what she needed was for me to take time to to get in it with her a little bit,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Like to be like, man, like I I could see, and if I was in your shoes, or if from your perspective, why you would be feeling that way, and why you would have that worry or why you would have that frustration. And I think it's time right now as church leaders uh, to uh, to make smaller the gap and to say, hey, listen, let me for a moment empathize with what it's like to have lost your job. Let me
Yeah.
empathize for a moment what it's like to have a family member who has this virus. Let me for a moment empathize for what it's like to be a mom who has to now figure out homeschooling for her three kids, which that's been that's my wife trying to
I'm
figure out.
homeschooling right now, so I
Come
feel
on,
that pain. I
come on.
feel that pain.
Well, and that's it. I mean, that's powerful. Like God is teaching, I think all of us like how to empathize with people and to feel what they're feeling so that we can better minister to them. Ultimately, that allows us to better speak truth to them. It allows us to better comfort and guide.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Cause like I felt honestly, man, I felt real bad when I spoke to one of the leaders in the church, and you know what I'm saying, he called me and he was very afraid and worried about his job and his family, and I was just like, wow. And that I was so like, man, listen, man, everything's gonna be all right. He's like, no, I really need you to understand like how I'm feeling right now. And that junk shook me as a leader because I was like, dang, man, I felt like I failed him because
yeah,
I wasn't leading the way I felt like I should have been there for him in that moment. And I also focus on, look, man, you just gotta have faith. And it shook me like, no, bro, like, yo, like you gotta lead and shepherd them. And
mm,
a shepherd goes to the sheep. He doesn't just stay away from it, you know what I'm saying, stand on the mountain and say,
yeah.
follow me.
Just shout.
Yeah, he goes down there and says, like, look, man, I'm with you. I
Yeah,
love you. It's gonna be all right. I'm praying for you. If you need anything, text me and call me. And that shifted my focus to a place where now I message at least, you know what I'm saying, 4 or 5 people a day from the church to see how they doing. You know what I'm saying? Just to let them know that, you know what I'm saying, I'm here for you. I'm there for you so that, you know what I'm saying, I can develop that. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. Man,
So
that's powerful. I love that. I love that. And here's what's going to happen. Like what God is doing in you um, on the other side of this pandemic is going to magnify your leadership and your ministry, right?
absolutely.
And so it's like because you're leaning into it and you're listening to that right now. I mean, when this is all said and done, like it's gonna really magnify what God's doing through you, so, which is awesome. So, well, let me ask you another personal question.
Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
Do you have like a new rhythm or a new discipline that you've either added to your life in this season, or maybe you've like doubled down on, or you've magnified because of how everything shifted? Do you have new rhythm or new discipline that you're practicing?
Well, I got a new rhythm because now I homeschool my kids.
Okay.
So I gotta get
Okay.
them
How
in
does
the
that look?
system. Very structured. I'm a structured man. I'm a structured guy. I'm a very systematic guy. Very, you know what I'm saying, disciplined guy when it comes to certain things. And so every morning I wake up and I guess I'm just taking through my day, I
Let's
guess. You know,
go.
a typical day. I wake up probably about 6 or 7. I do like an hour devotion. And then after that, I read a book for about an hour, and then I listen to a sermon while I'm cooking my kids breakfast. And then after that, I help my kids with their homework for about an hour
Okay.
to an hour and a half. And then I send my kids out for, you know what I'm saying, recess. So they go outside and play for about an hour. And I do any church work I have, that's, you know what I'm saying, emails or anything. And then, you know what I'm saying, they come back in, they do a little bit more homework, and then I fix them lunch. And then while I'm listening to lunch, I listen to a leadership podcast.
Okay.
And then after that, they do their homework while I read a book again. And then they go back outside again, and then we come back. And then after that is where I really hit all my church work, all my emails, everything I got to do as far as sermon prep or, you know what I'm saying, connecting with different
Yep.
people in the church or, you know what I'm saying, anything like that. So that's my typical day. If I didn't have structure, I'll be losing my mind right now.
I hear that. I hear that. Um, It sounds like you're really spending a lot of time strengthening your mind, because you
Mm,
talked about reading, like
mm,
reading multiple things, listening to stuff. You're strengthening
mm,
your mind, and you're also strengthening your soul. Like, man, I'm spending time with
mm.
Jesus. I'm not just spending time in His Word, but I'm listening to other people
Yeah.
teach His Word. And so I love that, how you're investing a lot in feeding your mind and your soul, which is incredible.
Yeah, because I think, man, look, I think we got to be, the Bible talks about us, you know what I'm saying, guarding our heart. And in this season, we can spend time, you know what I'm saying, on social media, listening to people dying, people being sick, people being afraid and timid. And you know what I'm saying, what that does is that gets all that negativity on the inside of us, and we become negative and
Yeah.
anxious and
Yeah.
fearful. So I'm just like, look, I'm not going to be reading all that. I'm not going to be reading all that. I'm going to spend time listening to God say that, you know what I'm saying, He's going to take care of me.
Yeah.
Listen to sermons that say, you know what I'm saying, God's going to supply my needs. You know what I'm saying, reading books that's going to build me up, you know, especially, you know what I'm saying, my spiritual man, so that it can be strong. Because I preached the
Mm.
sermon on Sunday. Matter of fact, when we talk about peace, and you know what I'm saying, we talk about having peace in this season. Like, God wants us to have peace. And I use the symbolism of a large hurricane, and how, you know what I'm saying, with a hurricane, you have chaos and destruction, and you know what I'm saying, all those things. But in the middle of a hurricane, there's something called an eye. And
Mm-hmm.
inside the eye is peaceful.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's peaceful. There's no chaos. There's no destruction. There's none of that in the center of the eye. And God wants us in this season as believers to be at that amount of peace. We all can
Come on.
have that peace to where we're in the center of the storm.
Yeah.
And everything around us is chaos. And we're walking in peace, because Jesus said this, man. Jesus said, peace I leave with you. This peace I give you. He gave us peace.
Mm.
So we're not fighting to get peace. We're fighting the enemy to maintain our peace, because we already have it. And so,
Wow.
you know what I'm saying, listening to podcasts, listening to positive things, sermons, scripture reading, prayer, all those things help us maintain our peace. Because how can we be the light to the world if we're just as dominated by this thing is as the world is? We're called to be a light.
Yeah.
And so we got to feed that man. Feed that man,
I
man.
like it.
Feed
I
him.
like it.
You know what I'm saying? Build him up.
Bro, I love there's so much unity between you and I, because yesterday I literally filmed content that talked about what we feed grows,
Oh,
like as
absolutely.
leaders, right? And we get to choose that. Meaning, on the other side of this, we're going to be the product of what we have been feeding on all the way through this, right? Or another way to say that is, we are going to reap certain fruit and harvest on the other side of this, from the seeds that we are sowing every day through this. And our lead pastor at Waymaker.Church, he says this. He says every day, he says, I check the news real quick. I get my snapshot update just so that
Yeah.
I stay relevant and
Yeah,
understand,
absolutely.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he says, I put it away, and then I focus my mind, my heart, my attention on truth,
Yes.
on being intentional with what I feed on and what I put in. And he's led our church that way, or from a posture of hope and peace, because of that discipline that he's lived in. And so I love that.
And let me say this too, man. Like, one thing too is, like, I think sometimes people think if you're positive and very optimistic, that you are not, you know what I'm saying, looking at, you know what I'm saying, reality. Like, if you're positive, then man, you're not looking at reality. Like,
Yeah.
no, bro. No, like, no, bro. Like, I see reality, but I choose to listen, and I choose to say, God got me. Like,
Yeah.
I choose. It's a choice.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? We can choose to look at reality and say, that's real. Or we can choose to say, man, you know what I'm saying, God is bigger. Like,
Yeah.
God is bigger than what's going on now. We can, you know what I'm saying, we have a choice to choose that.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. All right. Here's the payoff. This is the last question, and this is the big question. And I love this, because this is us looking to the future. And so I'm excited to hear what you say. How do you believe the church will be different because of this season of COVID-19, social distancing, you know, services having to be moved online and everything being disrupted. All of our norms have been disrupted. How do you think the church is going to be different on the other side of this?
Man, I read that question. It's like so many things went through my mind, and there's so many directions that I can go in. But I want to go in a direction that maybe not be, you know, saying the norm, right?
Okay.
And I want to
Bring
say,
it.
I think the church is going to be stronger.
Okay.
Because I think this season has caused us as believers to really start to trust in God. Because, you know what I'm saying, we can preach from stage, trust in God, and we can say that we trust in God. But when it's time to start trusting in God,
come on,
then it get real, right?
Yeah.
Then it get real. But God always uses seasons like this, like to make us stronger and tougher to face, you know what I'm saying, what we need to as a church, as a person. And I think that, man, this church is going to be stronger. Like, if, you know what I'm saying, the church, you know what I'm saying, survives this, you know what I'm saying, which it will, then we're going to be a beacon of light to people. Because now people in the world realize I can't rely on my job. I can't rely on the government. I can't rely on these things. And what do I have to rely on? Well, in steps the church. Like, hey, I got somebody that you can, you know what I'm saying, really trust in, you know what I'm saying, rely on.
Yeah.
And I think we're coming out stronger to where we're going to, you know what I'm saying, come to the forefront of people going to start looking at us like, hey, I just seen that I can't trust in what I thought I trusted in. I can't trust in my job. I can't trust in my money. I got to trust in something that's not, that's not saying bigger than me. And that one person is God. So I'm excited about, one, it being stronger, and two, I think it's going to be bigger. And what I mean by bigger is there's a lot of people now that are starting to see like, hey, I think I need to, I really think I need to start,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, following God. I really think, because like the people that are on the fence, like, they're like, it's time for me to go in hard now.
Yeah.
So
I like that. You know, to your first point, I think another way to say that is God can utilize this current season to identify the idols that we have placed in our lives, right?
yeah,
And an idol can be anything that we've placed like our faith and our trust and our affection towards, right? And you know, Scripture says our God is a jealous God. Right? He says,
right.
he's like,
Right.
your affection, your faith should be geared towards me, and that's where abundant life lies, like in that, right? And so in this season, as he reveals these idols, to say these things are fleeting, these things you can't put your faith in because they may not be there one day versus the next. And so then we're looking around, to your point, so we're looking around saying, oh man, Jesus, like Jesus, it can be our source of hope and joy. Jesus can be our source of peace, right? Like you were saying earlier.
Yeah.
And that makes us stronger, not just as a church, right? Because like, don't get me wrong, like God's revealed idols in my life that will help me be a better follower of Jesus moving beyond that. But hopefully in our world too, he's revealing these idols. So
Yeah.
I like that.
And sometimes it takes seasons like these to show us like what we really had our trust in. Because we all, you know what I'm saying, we all may think like, I trust God. Like,
Yeah.
I don't trust my job. I really trust God. But then when your job gets taken away, it's like, oh, I didn't trust God as I thought I did.
Yeah.
And so it takes seasons like these to be like, you know what? Now I'm really starting to develop my trust in God. And it's also in seasons like these where our relationship, you know what I'm saying, with God starts to grow stronger, because now, you know what I'm saying, when Jesus says, I will supply your needs, and he does it, then you start to trust God more. Like, listen, he said that he was going to supply my needs, and he actually did it. Oh, now I can trust him. So next time, because listen, this won't be the last time something like this happens. Not saying that we're going to have another virus or something like that, but this won't be the last time that something big like this happens. So next time we're going to be able to look back and say, listen, God, you showed yourself strong during the virus back then in 2020. So now I know that you're going to do it. This, you know what I'm saying, the same way God spoke to, you know what I'm saying, the children of Israel.
Yeah.
And he said, and you know what I'm saying, when they, you you know what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying, they came out of Egypt, he kept telling them, I am the God who set you free from slavery and Pharaoh. Why did he do that? Because he wanted to, you know what I'm saying, remind them that I did it yesterday and I can do it today. I did it yesterday and I can do it today. And so, look, you know what I'm saying, you can probably feel my passion through this. I am excited about what the church is going to be like after this season. Like, we're going to be strong. Like we're going to be tenacious. Like, we're going to be like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
come on.
you know what I'm saying? Like, we're going to be like what we need to be. I'm excited. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I can talk all day long.
Is this, did you get into like your preaching voice right there? Was that,
yeah, I did.
I like that. I like that.
I was like, look, turn to your Bibles. You start preaching right now. Turn to your John Dupin. I see you down there. Look, man, you can turn to your Bibles and we can all get on this call right now and start preaching. You know what I'm saying? Waymaker, people can get saved and delivered. People can get baptized.
I was about to say, we need to do like a call to salvation right now. Like,
you know, right now. Baptism pool off. Is it rain? It was raining. I mean, we can go outside.
Oh man, that's so good.
All right, man.
Listen, I just want to say I appreciate your friendship.
Oh yeah.
I believe so much in you and in what God has called you to specifically. I'll say this: I just believe that for you as a leader and for one community, that there is definitely God stirring something new in your church, and
absolutely,
I really, really believe that. I believe He's called you to this, and I'm glad I get to know you. I'm glad I get to watch it happen, and know that I'm so for you. And Waymaker.Church is so for you guys. And so thank you so much for coming on today.
Yeah, man. I really appreciate, we met because I was looking to start a, leadership development program at One Community Church. And I was looking around and then I ran into a member of your church. And she was like, man, you should come by to, next level leadership. And I went there and I'm so glad I did, man. I was just being obedient because God was like, just go and learn.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to humble yourself just to learn.
Yeah.
And so I'm very grateful. And then, Pastor Paul speaks very highly of John Dupin and his wife, Tammy Dupin.
Yep.
She, he speaks very highly of them. So I've always admired, you guys from afar. And I'm excited, you guys got a new building. I'll have to come over there, one time soon. Like once y'all, get it launched and stuff. I'm gonna, celebrate, with you guys. So
yeah,
man, just be in prayer for us, man. We're going through a season where God's changing a whole lot of stuff. He's shifting a whole lot of stuff, and it's new, it's fresh, but you gotta take it step by step. So
that's good. That's good. Hey, Jules Riley is on here. She is a friend of mine from college. Her son Cole Riley was on your basketball team.
Yeah. What's up?
That's crazy.
What's up, man? Look, hey, I coach. Hey, you want to see me passionate out there yelling and joking?
Okay.
I mean, yelling and shouting. She'll tell you down at the bottom. Go ahead and tell him, Jules. Go ahead and tell him.
All right. Let's be real, Destin. Me and you, one-on-one on the court. What happens? What happens? Me and you, one-on-one on the court.
I beat you 12-2.
Oh man.
Man, look. I don't like. Listen, I don't like because I know my previous life. I don't like to get in like competition because I know my drive, my competitive drive. It goes overboard. So I just like, look, hey, don't ask me no questions like that, man, because I get real competitive. Yeah, Chandler.
What?
Look at the bottom. He said,
wait,
Destin
no. People are agreeing with you.
Oh, hey, I'm 6'6". I ball. Look, I can dunk.
Listen, no.
Oh, Marcus, that's what I'm talking about.
Come on.
Hey, your church sleeping on you. Your church sleeping on you, bro.
Hey,
they don't have faith in your game.
listen. Oh, come on, man! I'm getting grilled on here.
Hey, don't do it. Hey, y'all gotta show. Hey, pray for your pastor, man. Pray for him, man. Hey, what John Dupin at? John, you gonna reach out and say something? Because if you say it's me, then you know what I'm saying. Brett Club may come over here with me.
Oh gosh. Oh man. Okay, listen. I'm gonna humble myself right now, and do something that I want to do. So seriously, right now, I would love to pray for you and for One Community, and for everyone watching, specifically my Waymaker.Church peeps. I would love for you to right now, as you're watching, or when you watch it later, to pray along with me for you, Pastor Paul, and for One Community. So, do you mind? Would you let me to do that for you?
I don't mind as long as you let me pray for you too.
Okay, let's do it. God, I am so thankful for Destin. I'm thankful. I'm thankful for the past that he's been through, the difficult past he's been through, because through that you have brought a beautiful testimony of your grace, of your love, of your salvation. God, I pray that you would pour a fresh anointing on his life. God, that he would, moving forward, speak and live your truth like never before. I pray for him and Pastor Paul. Would you give them wisdom? Would you give them supernatural discernment in this current season on how to navigate the uncertainties of our world and our community? And I pray for blessing and favor on One Community, that they would be able to, in the coming seasons, be able to say, as it says in Acts, that daily you are adding to their numbers those that were being saved by the gospel of Jesus Christ. God, I pray that in Jesus' name.
And Heavenly Father, I just pray, God, for Brett. I pray for God, his church. God, I just thank you, Father God, for the connection that we have made, Father God, that we can come together as the Big C Church and God influence those around us, and hopefully God inspire those, God, to know you. And God, thank you, God, for what Waymaker.Church is doing in Forest. I just pray that you will, God, grow them and expand, God, their influence, expand their ability, God, to reach, God, the people, God, whom you have called them to reach. And God, I pray, God, that this podcast, that this thing that we're doing together, God, that this will cause churches, God, to come together, people, God, to come together, that we can be everything, God, that we are, that God, you have called us to be. And God, I pray that every single person that is listening to this prayer, I pray, God, that God, they leave nothing wasted on earth. That God, you will stretch them and pull them so that they can reach their full potential, God, their fullest capacity, and be everything that you have called them to be. So when they come and see you, God, that you will say, well done, my good and faithful servant. God, I thank you, God, for the blessing, the love, the grace, and the goodness that is on this church. And God, I really appreciate them. And I pray this prayer right now in Jesus' name. Hey, God. Hey, Waymaker.Church, I love you. I will stop by sometime soon. I can't stop by on a Sunday, so I got to figure out how to do it.
Sneak out the back door, right?
I think, hey, I'm tall. I'm very tall. So if I left there, know me.
All right. Hey, Destin, thanks so much for being the first guest on Pastors in Slippers. I love you, bro. I'll talk to you later.
Hey, man, welcome me back sometime again soon, too.
All right, let's do it.
All right, man.
See you.